Welcome, everyone. This is Melanie Stanford, Midwest Media by Melanie. I'm here today, Melanie, Mrs. J, and guests, and we have some special guests in the studio. We actually kind of did a test run on this, and we had a little bit of equipment malfunction, so we're going to do it again, and we are ready and excited to share. I'm going to look at my notes because I don't want anything wrong this time. We are going to talk to Audra Allen. We also have M.L. Martin in the room, and Jeana Meeks, and of course, our own very special Mrs. J. Hi, Mrs. J.
Hi, Melanie. Hi, girls.
Hello.
Good to have you all here today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us today. And we are ready to talk about some exciting things that you have coming up. You are going to be going to Indonesia, and you have Whitewater Beef. We'll introduce all of that stuff. How does that sound for an introduction to that?
I think that sounds great.
All right. But you asked a great question on our first practice round. You talked about how you got started in all this.
So when we got started with Whitewater Beef, we're family owned and operated working ranch in the Sandhills. So when the winters of 18 and 19 hit, we had really, really hard winters. We had those hurricane bomb cycles that came through, and we had a lot of calves that were born during that April storm especially, that was really, really hard on those calves. And with those storms, when they were born, we lost a lot of ears. They froze their ears, and when you go to take those calves to sell, a lot of times the buyers will dock you for them, and you won't get a premium price because they don't have ears. And so we decided, we'll do something different. And the buyers said, hey, we'll take them from you. And my husband said, no, thanks. We will make money off of them, and we will go ahead and put them on feed, and we'll do it ourselves. And so we had some harvest spots that we had already secured, and we had a few animals that we were going to fill our own freezers with, our own personal family freezers, and the people that work alongside us with us. And when the pandemic hit, we had friends in Iowa that were calling us saying, hey, do you have any beef? We had friends in Texas that were calling us, and family members in Texas that were calling us saying, hey, do you by chance have any beef? And then my sister, who's in Prescott, Arizona, she called us, and what was really interesting was her story. She told us they were limited in Prescott, Arizona. They were limited to 1 pound of protein per family per trip to the store. And so we realized right away, wow, this is huge. This is really a big thing that is a problem. And so those first animals that we harvested, we knew that it was going to be something that was going to be needed. And so I sat down with my husband, Matt, and my father-in-law, Stuart, and we said, okay, what do we want to do with this? And I said, I had an idea, and I said, give me 10 head. Give me 10 head of spayed heifers, and let's just see what happens. And we went down to our summer pasture, and we were riding through our yearling spayed heifers, and I pulled out my camera on my phone, and I just took a video of me riding through those spayed heifers, and I said, we're going to have 10 of these girls available for butcher beef in January. Contact me if you'd like to purchase a butcher beef for us. I have the harvest spots already secured. And that video got, I don't even remember how many views, like 2,000, something like that. And I had those 10 head sold in no time. And 10 head then turned to 12 head, which turned to 15 head. And in those first 10 head that we sold to be harvested that January, one of the orders came from friends in North Carolina, one of the orders came from family members in Texas, and one of the orders came from family members in Arizona. And so we knew right away that we needed to get our product out of the state of Nebraska. There were people that wanted our product, not just here locally, but also across the country. And so as we started that first harvest, we ended up with 15 head, and we learned right away that we needed to get our beef shipped to people. And so I shipped our first wholesale order that March to North Carolina to some friends of ours, and we started shipping our beef right then and there. That's kind of how it started. And 10 head, like I said, 10 turned to 12, which turned to 15 in that first harvest. And then it took off from there, and we never looked back. And so we harvest anywhere between 100 and 130 animals every year that we sell direct to consumers now. And we harvest 3 times a year. So that way we can serve our restaurants as well as our meat markets. And so we try to make sure that we have enough beef to handle the orders that they have for us. We only source our cattle for our orders, and that's the biggest thing about us. We don't buy any cattle to source our whitewater beef orders. We don't buy any cattle to source our commercial herds at home. Everything is home raised, and so that is something that is very unique about us. They're not buy up calves or weigh up calves.
Do you save some of this Nebraska beef that you're growing that's so wonderful in Arthur, Nebraska? Are you saving that for some of the Nebraskans nearby?
Yes, we do service a lot of customers in the state of Nebraska. We also service a restaurant in Sargent, the Rescue. So if you guys are out in Sargent, stop by and see Mel at the Rescue. She'd love to serve you some of our whitewater beef.
And does she advertise it that way?
Yes, she does. Yep. It is known that it's whitewater beef that source all of their burgers.
And if somebody wants to order a bundle, say a specialty bundle, how do they get a hold of you?
Whitewaterbeef.com, or you can send me a message on social media, Whitewater Beef Lady on Instagram and Whitewater Beef on Facebook, as well as our email, info@whitewaterbeef.com. And that's the easiest way to get a hold of us, and we can customize anything that you would like. We work with USDA certified butchers only. Custom exempt butchers are great, but we only work with USDA certified butchers, and that gives us the ability to be able to customize as small of an order or as large of an order as anybody would want. So whatever works best for you and your family, we can take care of you.
And you just ship all that up to people. And you were talking earlier about how you ship that. You want to explain how that goes out to people?
So we ship 3 different modes. We ship via UPS directly to your doorstep, via Southwest Air Cargo, and I ship out of Denver International Airport, as well as we work with a private freight company to source our orders via freight.
Okay. And we also were talking about what do you do with the stuff that doesn't make it to a special custom order, like all of the extra stuff? And I know that you said that you guys eat really well, so why don't you tell me about that a little bit, Jean?
Well, a lot of times I call Audra and I'm like, hey, so how do I cook this? Because I didn't grow up cooking a lot, but she is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to how to cook your meat, how to cook your beef.
So in other words, everybody on the ranch eats really, really well.
Super well. Like you said, kings.
We work really hard, but we eat like kings. And we decided that would be our motto. So when I was growing up, my mom, whenever we went to a restaurant or whenever we ate someplace different, my mom would ask me, she'd say, what do you taste? And she'd say, what is that flavor? What do you taste? And she taught me how to break down the flavors, each individual thing that you were tasting in every part of the meal that you were eating. So my mom and my grandma were really influential in helping me learn how to cook. And to be honest, if my husband was here, when we first got married, I didn't know how to make instant mashed potatoes because I would have rather been outside with my dad rather than inside working in the kitchen with my mom. And so my husband did a lot of the cooking when we first got married. And I quickly realized that I needed to learn how to cook. I had a hired man at my table for every meal. Well, not every meal. I didn't do breakfast every day, but I had a hired man at my table for noon and evening meals for 10 years. And so I have always had a crew to feed. I have always had men to feed. And I remember we got home from our honeymoon and my father-in-law was there the next day for lunch the day that we got back. And so I hadn't even unpacked our house, and I realized real quick I got to learn how to cook, and I got to learn how to cook real quick because the nearest grocery store, I mean, we have a small market to provide the necessities there in Arthur, but the nearest grocery store is in Ogallala or in North Platte, which is 68 or 72 miles. And so we had to learn really quickly how to be resourceful, and obviously going out to eat wasn't an option. So I remembered all those things that my mom taught me. Even though I was begrudgingly learning them growing up, and I started to think about that, and then I got really interested, and I started watching the Food Network, especially when I got pregnant, which did not help with my weight gain. But I watched a lot of the Food Network, and I just learned, and my love for cooking and my joy for cooking really grew as we started having kids and just as life progressed.
Well, that's a great segue into our next part of this conversation. And it sounds like you're going to be on an Indonesian cooking show.
So we have been asked by the Nebraska Beef Council and the U.S. Beef Council to appear on Master Chef Indonesia. And so here in the first part of August, we will be going with a team of a great team that the Nebraska USDA or Nebraska Department of Agriculture, that they've put together. And they will be leading a team of us into Southeast Asia as we expand the markets of Nebraska beef specifically in the Southeast Asia markets, so in their grocery stores as well as their restaurants. And so part of what we will be doing is we will be meeting with different delegates and different people in their I'm not sure the right word to describe those people, but that are involved with the importing of beef into their country. We'll be meeting with them and talking with them about the different products that we can provide, and just the different the lifestyle that we lead and the type of beef that we produce. And so we'll be representing Nebraska beef producers as well as American beef producers, because it's American agriculture that we're going over there to promote, specifically Nebraska, but America as a whole. And so we will be the face of Nebraska beef producers as we help expand the market in Southeast Asia.
Explain how you're going to be the face of that. Explain the horses and the saddles.
Okay, so we will be... So we'll be the icebreaker for Master Chef Indonesia. And so they will be doing a lot of publicity with us before the show airs. And then we will be riding in on thoroughbred horses as they want to really showcase the Western culture. Even though it's thoroughbred, that's as close as we can do over there, I guess.
Ship our own horses.
Yeah, we're not shipping our own over there. But we will be riding in on thoroughbred horses, and we will be helping just share with them the ranching culture and the Western way of life, our lifestyle. Everybody that's a producer here in the state of Nebraska will be representing them. And so we'll be also doing the icebreaker for the 30 contestants before they start their challenge. So we will be teaching them how to rope the dummy. And so my husband, who is a fantastic coach, will be coaching them as to how to head and heel the dummy, and we'll be teaching them, and as well as the judges, how to rope the dummy. And then Professor Chris Calkins, who is a meat science professor at the University of Nebraska, he will be accompanying us on the trip, and he will be then, we will lead into his part, and he will be teaching the contestants how to take the flat iron out of the chuck roll, how to properly cut it out of there to get the proper size and the weight, and then they will be learning how to prepare the flat iron. A flat iron is a really unique cut, as it actually expands as it cooks rather than contracts and gets smaller. It actually, the muscle expands, and he could explain it a whole lot better than I can, but it's a unique cut, and so that will be their challenge as to make it onto the next round, is to properly prepare a flat iron steak, first to remove it from the chuck roll and then to prepare it. And then we, alongside the celebrity judges and Professor Calkins will be helping choose the best product.
Now, will they prepare that flat iron steak Western style, or will they do it in their own Indonesian way?
I'm guessing in their own Indonesian way. That's what I'm guessing.
You might come home with some new recipes.
I
for
cannot
Jeana
wait.
and Elsa.
I cannot wait. It has been really kind of the joke between my friends. Everybody has said, I bet I know the thing that you're most excited about. And the first thing I said was the food. I cannot wait to have the food. So I'm really excited. And I also want to put my feet in the Indian Ocean. So that's the goals while I'm over there.
Well, who knew that being a Nebraska rancher, you would get to see that happen?
Yeah, have the opportunity to. We will fly through Tokyo, and we actually have a 9-hour layover in Tokyo. So Matt and I will be taking 9 hours in Tokyo and living up as, seeing the all the things that we can see in 9 hours and enjoying it'll be a quick trip into Jakarta, but we'll enjoy all of it, I'm sure.
Let's talk a little bit about the uniqueness of getting Nebraska beef prepared for Indonesia.
So it's I have to say, which I'm probably a little bit biased, but Nebraska, we produce the best beef. If right along with the best, if not the best. I'm sure there are others that do a really great job alongside us as well, but they're really focusing on promoting Nebraska beef, and so we will be able to just share with them why our product is superior, and we're not going to be focusing on the primary cuts, so we're not going to be focusing on the ribeyes, the tenderloins, the New Yorks. People over there are very comfortable with those cuts already, so we're going to be focusing on the more secondary cuts that are not quite as well known, that are more available and accessible to middle-class families.
Okay. Does your family ranch have a name?
Our family ranch is Whitewater Incorporated. We are family-owned and operated since 1884. Our children, Matt and I have 3 children together, and our children are 7th-generation ranchers.
Wow.
So...
Can I go back to the harvesting? Earlier you talked about the harvesting and the Muslim way and how fortunate we are that right in Omaha they do that.
So what I've learned is the United States, as well as Nebraska, we export beef to over 60 Muslim countries. And Indonesia happens to be, it's a republic, and it is a predominantly Muslim country. And so when you export beef to those countries, the most important thing to them is that the animal, or at least to Indonesia, I cannot speak for all other countries, but for Indonesia is that the animal is harvested according to the halal regulations. And we are very fortunate here in Nebraska that the head of the halal
ceremonies.
Yes, ceremonies and the requirements, that's in Omaha, and so they are the ones that oversee all of the harvesting of animals that are, and I'm not sure exactly how intricate, so I may be saying this wrong, but they are the hub of what all is required for the regulations for halal harvesting of animals so they can be exported to Muslim countries.
And they're very centrally located with all of the different packing houses.
Yes, it is very conveniently located, and we're thankful to be able to have that option here in Nebraska.
So who's all going on the delegation with you and the professor?
Yes, Professor Calkins is with us. John Kerrigan will be leading the team with the Nebraska Department of Ag. Chris Calkins, my husband, and myself. And there is one other man, and I don't know his name off the top of my head. I haven't met him yet. We are supposed to be having a meeting, another Zoom meeting, and I think I will meet him. But there is a corn producer who will be joining us as well. His name is Chris, but I'm not sure his last name.
Regardless, you're the only ranching couple.
Yes, we're the only ranching couple.
That's very cool.
And they were very excited to be able to get the people in Indonesia when they came to the Nebraska Department of Ag to try and make this come together. They were very excited to come up that we were able to come up with a husband and wife team. It's a very they expected a man to be able to come over and share about agriculture and the things that he did. I mean, obviously they're thinking John Wayne, or at least that's my thought. But they're very surprised to see how active women are in agriculture and how active women are in the day-to-day activities on the ranch and just all the different things that we do. And so they're really excited that we can be a husband and wife team that come together.
And you definitely have the things that you add as a woman, and he has the things that he adds as a man. But you were talking about how, as a couple, you really make it work.
Yes, I could not do what I do without him. I'm very, very thankful for my husband. And he couldn't do what he does without me either. I mean, we make a great team. I definitely don't want his job, and he doesn't want my job, but we're thankful to have each other. We've been married for 18 years now. We've been together for 21, and it's ranching in the Sandhills is not easy. It's definitely, they call it the good life, but when they say it's not for everybody, there's a few reasons for it. It's definitely a harsh lifestyle. The seasons can be really difficult. Winter can be very cold and very long and very difficult. And so it can be hard. And so I'm thankful to be able to do it alongside him and to be his partner and his helper. He's definitely in charge. I am not. I am his helper. And so he's a great leader for our team. And we're not perfect. We make lots of mistakes, but we try really hard.
Well, we'd be remiss in mentioning the help, the team that's behind you when you do go on this trip, because Jenna's sitting here, and who's going to take care of your children?
So Jeana and Trent are a huge blessing, and they're a huge part of our team. Trent is the foreman at our South Place, and he takes care of all of our yearlings, as well as he heads up our horse production operation, as well as calves out all his cows and just he does everything.
Just do a little bit of everything.
Yeah. So and then Frank is amazing. There's a few inside jokes that go with Frank. He is our complaints department. Frank happens to be Jeana's dad. And so we have a really great a family dynamic.
It's a family, and we're all family. And
yeah, and it's fun, and it's crazy, and there's kids with us everywhere we go. Matt and I have 3 together, and Trent and Jeana have 3 lovely girls as well. And when we leave and head off to Indonesia, my father-in-law, Stuart, so ML's brother, he stepped up to the plate, and Trent and Jeana have stepped up to help us. And Stuart is going to be taking the kids to the 4-H horse show and to the junior high rodeos, and they're going to be checking cattle and checking wells. The kids and Stuart are going to be checking the North Place, and Trent and Jeana and Frank are going to be taking care of everything else. And we can't forget Regan, old Watson. He comes and helps us out and makes sure that things go whatever we need. So we have a great crew, and we have a lot of fun. We work really hard, but we have a lot of fun.
So it sounds like you're going to be the face of Nebraska beef in Indonesia, but you could be the face of what an American couple could be. I mean, and really be successful as a family and all of that.
Oh, that's really scary to think of. It's humbling. It really is, more than anything. It's just humbling to think that they would ask us. There's some amazing producers out there in the state of Nebraska, as well as in American agriculture in general. They're hardworking people. They're the salt of the earth, and they make the country go round. And I am honored and humbled to think that I can help represent them. And so we just want to do our best to paint a honest picture of what American agriculture looks like, and a family-run business in American agriculture.
Well, Sherry Vinton, if she's been standing back watching you and she recommended you, she knows what she's talking about.
Well, I just have to say, I'm Sherry's a good friend. She lives up the road from us on out there in the Sandhills, and she and I have talked for years, off and on, about different struggles that we face as producers, different options that we have as producers, different things that we can do, and Sherry's been a great voice in our ears as producers, as well as doing all the things that none of us want to do, back there in the business side of the state. And my husband and I, we were out at the mailbox. Our driveway happens to be 5 miles long. So we were out at the mailbox. We had left a vehicle. We were switching trailers around or doing something. And Sherry pulled up and she said, "Hey, I need to visit with you." And she said, I think that there's a really great opportunity that I'd really like you to think about. And I said, "Well, what's that?" And she said, "Well, would you travel?" And I said, "Have passport, will travel." And she said, "Well, we have the opportunity for a trip coming up to Indonesia. Would that interest you?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" My husband and I have both, we love to travel, and we've both been out of the country a couple of times. And so we do have current passports. And I think that was also, helpful for us too. But Sherry said, "Well, I'll be in touch." And I just didn't really think about it. And I kind of brushed it off and thought, okay, maybe. And then about 10 days later or so, I got a phone call from a man named Jordan in the Nebraska Department of Ag. And he said, we ended up getting things figured out, and we're going to take a trip to Indonesia. Would you and your husband be interested? And I said, "Wow, I'm humbled. Thank you. That's a wonderful opportunity." But no, I'm a mom. We're busy. There's just no way. Our son just tore his ACL, and he has to have surgery. And I just, thank you, but I'm sure there's someone else. And so fast forward a couple of weeks, my son, our oldest son, he tore his ACL and his LCL steer wrestling at the high school rodeo in Valentine back in May.
In this family.
Yes, we are, and all boy. I mean, even our daughter, she's a rough and tumble one right alongside with the boys. But so we had just finished. We were getting ready to be discharged from the hospital, and I got a text from Sherry, and she said, "I really would like you to reconsider. We have a great team coming, and I really need you to reconsider this. There's going to be Jordan's going to be calling you again, and I need you to reconsider." And so Jordan had said, he called just a couple minutes later, and he said, "We've secured funding, and we would really appreciate it if you would reconsider and join us on this trip to Indonesia." And I looked at my husband, and we both just said, Okay, God, you just keep presenting an opportunity, and you keep opening doors. Okay, we'll go. And Trent and Jeana were encouraging to us right from the start. Really great neighbors and ranchers. Lacey Hebert, north of us, I texted her and I said, "I don't know if I can do this." And she said, "You have to go. You have to go."
They know how hard you work. They want you to take a break.
Well, and they work just as hard as us right alongside us. And she said, and I said, "Oh, I just don't know. I got to take the kids to the rodeo." And she said, "We'll take the kids to the rodeo. We'll help." And so Stuart's going to take the kids, and Trent and Jeana are going to help take the kids. And we've got friends and neighbors that are just saying, "You've got to go. You've got to go and represent Nebraska beef producers. We can't do that, but we can help you with your kids." And so once we knew that the kids were going to be taken care of, we said, "Okay, we'll go ahead and go."
Question: what are you going to take for gifts?
So the Indonesian culture is very big on gift giving and presenting gifts. And so as we meet the celebrity judges as well as Ambassador Kim, we will be providing them with cowboy hats and ropes from here in Nebraska.
Oh, they'll love that.
Yeah, they're excited. They want us to help portray the ranching lifestyle, the family way of life here in our Sandhills just ranches, what we do. And so they will be riding horses, thoroughbreds, but we will be riding horses with Western saddles that we will be shipping over from here. So we have the correct saddles. So we'll be riding horses in, and we'll be teaching the people how to rope, and that will be the icebreaker, what we do.
I'm sitting here in America. I don't get to go to Indonesia, but I want to see this. So how am I going to find this video?
I believe that it will be aired on YouTube, and I'm not sure if it will be aired, how it will be able to be seen in the United States. I don't know that yet. I will probably learn more of that as we have our next Zoom call on Wednesday morning. So I'll be learning more. And that call is with the production crew. So I'll be learning a little bit more about what the show all entails, I think, on Wednesday.
Have you picked out your outfit?
Oh, my word. So those of you that know me, this is the scariest thing. I am a jeans and T-shirt kind of girl. I don't know how to do hair. I don't. I mean,
They want you
not.
to be a rodeo queen?
Oh gosh. So the first thing I did was I have a neighbor, Thea Larson, who lives just over the hill, and we have traded help with Larsons for years and years and been longtime friends. And Thea, she's Cowgirls Over Coffee and Cowgirl Diaries on Instagram and Facebook. So she's an influencer, and she is a big advertiser of women in Western culture. And first thing I did is I called Thea and I said, you got to dress me because I don't know what to wear. I said, I need to know where to go to get my hair done. I need to know what to wear. And so she's opened her closet to me, and she's told me where to find the right kind of jeans to fit my body type. So I'll be going and shopping on Thursday when I go to get beef deliveries. I'll be shopping for some options, and Thea has offered me a lot of different things. So I am not in charge of dressing myself, which is really a great thing for those of you that know me, because I would show up in jeans and a white T-shirt.
Well, that's who you are, though.
Yes. and they want me to, the biggest thing is I want to be me. I don't want to be somebody who's not me. And so I will probably be in a light long sleeve button-up shirt.
We're not looking at Beth Dutton here.
No.
Yeah,
We're looking
no.
at the
This is
real
not
thing.
Yellowstone.
No, it
This
is not
it.
Yellowstone. No.
This is real.
So, it will be, first of all, comfortable. That's going to be the most important thing to me, is comfortable. And because I'm going into a Muslim culture, I have to be mindful of the things that are appropriate and acceptable to their culture. I definitely don't want to be offensive. Whether I agree with or believe in their culture or not, I'm a guest in their country, and I want to be appropriate, and I want to be gracious to them in asking me to come. So
You're in their house.
Yep, I'm in their house, so I will be. I'll be dressing in things that are appropriate to wear there.
And I think that says a lot about your character right there. The fact that you respect that, and whether you believe it or not. I think we lack a lot of that in our society anyway. May I ask what's on your forearm?
It's a tattoo. It's my favorite verse, Hebrews 12, 1-3. And I choose to put Jesus first in everything that I do.
Well, there's why you're so successful.
There you go.
Thank you. I have to be really careful, though, as I enter a very Muslim country with being very bold. And I definitely, God has provided an opportunity for us to be there. Thankfully, it is a republic. It is not a Sharia law governed country. And so I feel comfortable going over there, as I've spoken with a couple of different women missionaries that are actually stationed in Indonesia, not specifically in the towns that we will be going to, but they've helped me understand a little bit about being a Christian in a Muslim culture and how to still be a light for Jesus while we're there.
Wow, that's beautiful. Yeah, I'll be interested and anxious to talk to you when you come back.
Yeah.
And I do plan on coming up to your ranch, if that's okay.
Yes, we'd love to have you.
Showing everybody, I hear that you have a new farm toy.
Oh, we have a Kubota. Yes. So my oldest son, though, he has decided that it is his.
Oh.
So my oldest son spends more time in it than I do right now. So I would have to say that my oldest, he would say, "Mom, I know how to drive that better than you do." But I used it a lot this winter with all of the snow we had. I got really good at digging snowdrifts, digging each of us out of snowdrifts as we got stuck every single day. And the Kubota came to the rescue every time, no matter how deep the drift was. The Kubota dug us out. So we left it at the mailbox. a couple of times because our driveway was so bad we couldn't get in and out, and it was it got really bad a couple of times. It blew in so deep that the county couldn't even get it opened up with the maintainer because it was so deep. So the Kubota got us in and out through the hills quite a bit this summer, or this winter.
So you have to say, how come you brought that up? Because we learned of her through
Right.
Tad.
So today's been a very interesting
It has
day.
been, and you are wrapping it up it couldn't be a better way. I
Right,
don't
right.
think.
Yeah, we had Tad Hanneborg on this morning from the DNN Event Center, and we got to talking Kubotas, and your name came up, and we made a call to ML. Well, I didn't, but Mrs. J did, and she got your phone number, and it's just been kind of a magical day.
Small world.
Well, it is a small world, and Tad and my husband went to high school together. So Tad and Matt have been friends for a long time, and I met Tad through Matt. So Tad has been super helpful as we have worked through Whitewater Beef. Tad has been really helpful at putting us in touch with Mid-Nebraska Ice. So Matt at Mid-Nebraska Ice, he's taking care of us a lot, as we just installed a commercial walk-in freezer up at the house, and Matt took care of all of that for us at Mid-Nebraska Ice. So he has been extremely helpful. And as we got our freezer trailer, Tad suggested going to Matt and working with him there as well. It didn't work out for us to get the freezer trailer through Mid-Nebraska Ice. It was not something that they really wanted to dive into, but he helped me figure out how to get our freezer trailer. So we've just had some really great people to help steer us in the direction we've gone to as we just jump off into a different endeavor.
That's how Nebraska rolls.
Yeah.
You know, if one neighbor helps the next, helps the next, helps the next.
You bet.
And I don't think the rest of the world realizes how important that sense of community is in that environment.
And I'd really like to highlight on that. Community is essential to how we live. And we couldn't do what we do, whether it's ranching or the direct-to-consumer sales, but mainly ranching. Neighboring is a huge part of what we do. And whether you like somebody or whether you get along with them or agree with them, if they call and they need help, you come no matter what. And we are thankful to have a fantastic group of neighbors that we work with, and we trade help in every season. And we couldn't do it without community. So
I hope you allow her to come to a branding someday, or ML's, because I think that is a true picture. The picture out here on the wall of Coyote Lake branding, those are all neighbors. Well, we saw Matt and Audra in there. I don't know if you were in there, but I mean, it was just it's really, really cool, the sense of how everybody comes together. They feed them, and you might get a nice cocktail or two. But
so we came from Texas and New Mexico up to Nebraska, and coming from Texas, everyone thinks Texans are so nice and friendly, and they really are. But coming up here was like a whole nother level of nice and community. They really embrace, and yeah, same thing. You break down on the side of the road, you have 3 people pulled over helping you within a matter of time. It might be a little bit of time, because it might be a road less travel.
There might be another
70
person
miles
from
to the
another
grocery
state
store.
driving by.
70 miles to the grocery store will get you sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, the community, being an outsider coming up, I can't speak any more well of how great everyone is.
so that sense of community really does put the burden on this family, Whitewater Beef, representing, well, your family, I shouldn't say Whitewater Beef, but representing Nebraska. They truly are representing a very large community,
Yeah.
It's not...
And it's everybody somehow knows someone. We're all connected in some way, whether it's through a friend, a cousin, an aunt, an uncle, or somebody. They're all related one way or another. And it's just a great community. And we've seen it time and time again. Right before one of the big storms this winter, we had a tractor breakdown, and our really good neighbors, great friends to the north of us, they came down and helped pull apart this. It wasn't the tractor, it was a hay feeder that broke down, and we needed these parts, and they were 4 hours away. And I got online and I said, hey, is anybody going to be close to Bassett? And a friend of ours that was up outside of Cody Kilgore, he said, yep, I'll be there in a couple hours. I'll be happy to drop in your parts. another neighbor chimed up and said, I'll be at the junior high basketball game in Cody Kilgore later today. I'll get the parks from him, and then she brought him down from Hyannis and met Matt later that day. I mean, it's a network of people.
Back roads network.
Yeah, I mean, and it really is. And I tell the kids all the time, the relationships that you build and the people that you meet now will take you for the rest of your life. The ag community is such a tight-knit, small community, and they'll do anything for you. They'll give you the shirt off their back. They're great people, salt of the earth, and I'm thankful to be part of that network and that family.
That's awesome. I'm going to be right back to you. First, I want to know how this all makes you feel. ML, this is your next generation talking.
Oh, absolutely. I think both Stuart and I are incredibly pleased that our son, my son, his son, are involved in the ranching industry. I think that the continuum of that and what are we, the fifth generation?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Stuart and I are the fifth, and our children the sixth, and our grandchildren the seventh, is so important. And that the importance of the land and the way you take care of it, the way you evaluate it, you could run 50 more head on there, but probably not. Let's back off from that this summer. Let's have some grass in the fall. It's just, that's the way it all comes, Melanie, is it's that full circle of.
Well, and the other thing that's really neat is Emil and Stuart, they split the ranches in 1998, and we work right alongside. The kids call him Uncle Charlie, but Matt and his cousin Charlie, Emil's son, they work right alongside each other. And even though the ranches are split, we still work with each other in the spring and in the fall. And whenever we need anything, the first thing the kids say, call Uncle Charlie, see what he's up to. And, it's really neat to see the pony that my kids rode is now at Charlie's house. And, just watching the different families that it's come down and to see it go then to our family. And so, we've done a post about that too, is how family is important and how we couldn't do what we do without family. And the kids know Aunt ML's coming, and everybody loves Aunt ML, the donut lady.
I was going to ask if you bring cookies or something.
Donuts for the brandings.
And everybody loves, when ML shows up, and it's just really neat to be able to. The grandkids, they get to work alongside their grandparents, not just their parents, but their grandparents. Yeah. And so they see the long line, and they see the traditions, and they see the culture, and they see the importance of why we do what we do. And there's a lot of people that they don't understand why we do what we do. They think we're crazy. And we are half crazy. But the kids get to learn it right alongside. And the only way that the kids are ever going to want to come back is if they learn to love it right alongside us. And so we've taken the kids with us as soon as they are old enough to ride. They've been going with us. And, it's hard to watch them go. And we love having the kids with us.
So every single time you take a bite into a homegrown flat iron, that 40 minutes of chatting we just had, that's the flavor you taste when you bite into that steak. What you just said, you just described the flavor, the last 40 minutes of us chatting.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I hope that I'm representing Nebraska beef well.
Yes, I think you will.
Well, I look forward to future conversations about Whitewater Beef. And what?
I said part 2.
Yes, part two. Yes.
Oh, we could do this every week.
Season 1, part. I don't know how you name it. Episode, whatever.
Yeah. How else am I going to learn about agriculture?
Yeah, there you go. We'll bring you right alongside with us.
I won a ribbon once on a horse.
There you go. That's where it all starts.
Oh, that's
a girl and a horse.
A girl and a horse. That's where the love starts, huh?
Yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for sharing this with us. And everybody be ready I am going to track down the YouTube video when this is done and share it somehow, because everyone's going to have to see Audra and Matt over in Indonesia. Yeah, the cooking show.
Cool.
Master Chef,
Nebraska style.
Yeah, it's coming.
On a thoroughbred horse.
On a thoroughbred horse. There you go.
Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Melanie Standiford, Midwest Media by Melanie. We're here today, Melanie, Mrs. J, and guests.
Well, that was much better. Did you feel better?
I